Good evening, everyone, and happy September. Thanks for joining us on another edition of our virtual Heritage Wilmot meetings, and welcome to those viewing online or afterwards as well. We'll move on to the land acknowledgement, and I'll ask Councillor Fisher to share that with the group.
Thank you, Nick. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the neutral Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community.
Thanks, Barry. Moving on to disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Tonight, I actually have a conflict to declare related to a company my firm is involved in relating to one of the properties on the non-designated register. Provided the applicable information to the clerk through Tracy, so that has been filed. Any other members have any interest to disclose? Seeing none, then we can move on to review of the minutes from our last meeting. Any comments, questions, additions? I think I can see everybody. I don't see any hands. Motion to approve them. Councillor Fenning, and second by, I think, Arden, you're first. All in favor? All right, that is carried. So on to the business items. First item is the non-designated register inventory, looking at final recommendation to council. So tonight we have the final list of properties recommended to council for inclusion on the non-designated register. The list was sent out the other day, the agenda for tonight. So if you've all had a chance to look at it. So there's a total of 18 properties recommended for addition. There's been lots of work occurring to get everything ready to go and present to council later on this month. I'll speak to 17 of the properties now. We could confirm support to add them, and then I'll turn things over to Marg to continue with respect to the property I have a conflict with, and that's the Beckdale Farms property. So why don't we'll start with the list as a whole. So it's mostly school properties, and then one house that we're proposing to add to the register. And Tracy, you've been in touch with some property owners just with some questions about being on the register and what it means. So I wondered if you wouldn't mind giving a quick update on that.
Certainly. So the properties that Nick was speaking about, there's 17. So 17 are all schools, and they are ranging from 1829, 1859 to 1973. So it's a real range of the architecture. And when the letters were mailed out in April, I had four responses of people that had concerns about being on the list. And so after conversation, explaining that it wasn't a designation, many people think you're being designated, but it's on the non-designated. I explained about what that means. All four of the properties have now understood, and they are in accordance with their property being added to our list.
That is excellent news. Good work, Tracy. Marg or Yvonne, was there anything else you wanted to add regarding the register?
No. The only thing I'd like to say is that there are a couple of small edits that still need to be done, so that details are, so it's just minor editing. But other than that, it was very interesting. It was a very interesting project to be involved in, and to learn about the history of some of these properties. And I'm really pleased to see that the mid-century modern ones have been included in the list. And they're very interesting in their own right. You get schools like Waterloo, Oxford, for example, where it's like a rabbit warren. I mean, when you go in that building, it's like, and then when you walk around it and you go, okay, where does it begin? Where does it end? It's all very interesting, and it was really great being involved with it. So.
Thanks, Yvonne. Yeah, I'm excited for some of the mid-century ones to be on there too. It gives a good mix to the register. And thanks also for all the work getting everything ready to go, and Tracy too for coordinating everything with clerks and township staff and having planning review the list and make sure all the details are right. So
I did have one comment I should have mentioned as well when I was talking about the 4 property owners that I was speaking with. One of them actually expressed interest in designation. So I'm putting together a package for them to look at, so they understood what a non-designation is. And then it was nice to see there's interest in that. And so I think it just kind of goes to show on the education that our committee does and sharing and spreading the word on what's available and the benefits too. So at the next meeting, then perhaps I'll share that on who the property owner is and if they'd like to proceed.
excellent. That is exciting. If there's nothing else on the list in general, oh, Barry, I see your hand up.
Yep, thanks, Nick. I just wanted to echo what Nick said about all the hard work Yvonne and Marg and Tracy have put into this. It's a huge project, and you've done a great job with it. So thanks very much.
Thanks, Barry. And for the applause, Jen. So if there wasn't anything else, maybe Tracy, it would make sense to deal with the 17 first to get a motion for those. So that would be the 17 schools minus the Beckdale Farms property, to have them recommended to council for addition to the register.
Looking at someone to move the motion.
Jen, I think you were first, and second, Patty. All in favor? That is carried. So yeah, 17 properties to be added to the list. That's great. So now for the last property, I'll vacate the chair seat for discussion on this item. Pass it to Marg as vice chair to discuss and ask for comment. Then once complete, Marg, if you don't mind passing the chair back to me. So I'll just mute myself and turn off my video.
Okay, thank you very much. We're dealing with Beckdale Farms, the house that's directly across from Sir Adam Beck Public School. It's hidden by the trees somewhat, but it's a yellow brick 2-story Italianate, and it's a wonderful example. It has coins and original small pane windows. And I don't know, Tracy, you don't happen to have a picture, do you? Or is everybody familiar with it?
I wish I had a picture handy, but
Okay.
it's pretty
Yeah,
identical.
no, didn't mean to put you on the spot. Sorry. I think everyone knows the building that we're talking about. And I would like a motion that be added to the list. But before we do, Tracy has some comments to make about this property.
Yeah, so to share with the committee, so this property we had originally suggested for on in 2015. This is the second time the property is coming back, and just recently I received an objection to have this property included on our list. So the committee, as we spoke last I want to say last month in June, that we still are permitted, and if the committee desires to still include the property as part of our the register. The property owner that has objected, he has been invited to come to council if he'd like to as a delegate, and ultimately with council to decide. But the committee needs to know I just received an objection. And how the committee would like to, if they'd still like to include this on the committee as part of our full 18. But this is just the recent update for this property.
Are there any comments from the members about this property and the objection and what you want to do, add it or not add it? Yvonne?
Yes, I would like to, we had a vote at the last meeting where it was passed that because it's a list owned by the township of properties that are meaningful in historical and cultural ways to the township as a whole, that we do not require the owner's approval for that property to be listed. There's no designation, there's nothing but it being included as being recognized. And so I think it's really important that we not that we follow through and we do list it. That's how I feel.
Okay. Any other comments, please?
Jen's got her hand up.
Jen?
Thank you. I agree. I'm wondering if there's anything that could be shared about the substance of the objection, if there was any reason given, or if that's information that's able to be shared with the committee.
Certainly. The part of the concern is that the objection to it is that it could be a potential future development. So I'm hoping that I've reached out to the property owner to have a conversation. And I mean, like the other 4 properties, a lot of times it's explaining, there's that confusion of designated versus non-designated, where a lot of people think we're designated, but just to share as much information as I can with him, if there's a level of comfort or areas where he could even maybe come to the committee and meet with us to talk about some alternatives, but that's what's been shared so far.
Okay, thank you for that. Anyone else with comments about inclusion of this particular property on the non-designated list going forward to council? No one else? I ask someone to make a motion that it's be included on the non-designated list then. Jen, and a seconder, please. Yvonne, okay. And all in favor? Objections? Seeing none, then that has passed. Okay, Nick, I'll turn it back over to you now.
I'm back in my virtual chair. Thanks very much, Mark. So I think moving forward, so Tracy, you can correct the date if I have it wrong, but I think it's at the 27th that it's planned to go to council. And so we'll have a presentation and a staff report.
That's right. And if I can also add, so I'll have my staff report and then presenters from our committee also would be part of it. But I should add, there's actually a third component. We had the 17.
Oh, properties come up.
The one with one with the objection, and then of course the other part is we need to remove 2 properties. So to ensure the committee is aware of the 2 that we're going to be removing is 43 Snyder's Road, and you would know that as Steinman's, or formerly Steinman's Furniture. So that one was demolished. The second one would be at 66 Mill Street, which you know as St. James Lutheran Church, and that one was designated, so it shifts to a different category. So I do need to remove these 2 properties as well and have the committee's support with that.
Thanks, Tracy. I wrote that down to not forget, and then I forgot it anyway.
Okay. I'm here to remind you.
Thanks. So we have a motion then to remove the one property that was since demolished, and then the other one that we've been able to designate, which is great news.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Mark. Seconder? Patty, I think you go first. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Excellent. And it is the 27th. Is it, Tracy? Oh, you're muted.
I was hoping people can read lips by now. So yeah, September 27th.
Okay, great. And Marg, you've offered to do the presentation to council. Do I see your hand up there too?
Will that be virtual or is that in person? That
That will-
council meeting?
That will be virtual.
Okay,
And if there was another person as well that wanted to assist, we've done it like ones and twos as well. If anyone expressed interest, of course, we're always looking for a second one. Which you can tell me later. It's okay. You don't have to feel pressured now.
Excellent. I think that was it for the non-designated register. Tracy, did I miss anything else? Okay.
You got everything. And I would just note that the once the 18 properties, which we gave you the short version, that goes into the larger version, which is over 100 properties we have now. So for the sake of making it easy for our dear council, I will highlight all 18 within that 40-page document so you can see them easily without having to point them out. So there'll be the bigger document as well. And I'll circulate the committee as well.
Excellent. I was going to count up our total, but I had not had a chance to do that yet.
No, just a side thought, this might be a good news release as well on how many properties we are now up to, and the category of the schools as well, which will be every school in Wilmot Township almost. Actually, I think it'll be all.
I think that's a great idea. Jen.
I just had a conversation the other day with somebody about, sometimes it might seem like registering things, and this is also to the point of the sort of mid-century modern things, that if we don't identify them and save them, we never will have anything that is of value, historically speaking. So even though, we don't have 1,000-year-old castles and 500-year-old churches or whatever to register and protect, it's a good thing to do it now so that eventually we will have something.
That's a very good point. And I know just hearing like so much of the kind of Victorian era stuff was removed back in the 50s when it was the thing to do, but to build these nice new buildings. And it's so I think it's good to make sure we cover a good cross section of buildings and lots of different ages and things. So I'm excited. Anyone else before we move on? Seeing none. So next item was the Bridge Street Bridge EA. We had talked about this previously in one of our meetings, and we've now received a revised report, which I sent around a few weeks back, I believe it was. There were some minor revisions from the earlier draft report. There were several potential recommendations at the end. I don't know if everyone's had a chance to take a look at it yet, but if not, you should take a look at it. But there's several potential recommendations towards the end, with the preferred one being to document the bridge and commemorate it and reconstruct it with the new bridge. And I think there's an opportunity still for us to provide comments. I don't know if the region of Waterloo would comment. I know they did on the Holland Mills Bridge, so they may have comments coming. Tracy, I don't know if you've heard anything from regional staff at all. No, I haven't either. I understand there's some consultation planned for later this year, although I didn't see anything listed on the website when I took a look at it. So Tracy, maybe if you could check with Public Works and see what their plans are. Okay, that would be great. It'd be nice to know timing for consultation and a bit of next steps. So just I wanted to mention that there to remind everyone to take a look at the report, and that we can provide some comments as well to the project team. Any comments, questions on that? Yvonne?
I wasn't going to comment, but I will. I just think it's very sad that this is going to be another one of the truss bridges that it's going down the same road as the Holland Mills Bridge, and I find that very sad. And reading the report, it's very strongly leading in that direction, despite multiple reports that have listed the bridge as having historical value, whatever. And it's unfortunate that it seems like money is the driving force in many of the decisions that are made. And I just think it's very sad. So I've said it. I'm done now.
I agree.
Yeah, and it does seem like it's possibly going down a similar path as the Holland Mills Bridge. It'd be nice if there could be a solution found to use it. I know on Holland Mills we talked about, is there an opportunity to have it either go beside the current bridge or integrated into a trail or something like that? So maybe that's something that comes out of the consultation that's going to happen. And by all means, if anyone has any thoughts that they'd like to include in comments, either we can chat about them now, or you can send an email around with some thoughts, and I'll put together a comment letter on behalf of the committee.
I'd like to see like the opportunity for us to have maybe an email correspondence, and you maybe combine our thoughts and present it as a whole.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it would definitely be good if, as a committee, we had got some comments going about the project. Jen.
Yeah, I'd be happy to participate in that. It's your comments about it being about money, and that so often is the choice that we're faced with as a municipality of this size, not having unlimited coffers. There are hard decisions sometimes, and it's painful to have to make them. And again, looking at the historical value of a structure like a bridge like this, which is beautiful as well. But how do we keep it? How do we make it functional? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough balancing. It has to happen sometimes. I have seen some actually. This past weekend we were in up at Sauble Beach, and we were camping at Sauble Falls, and there we were down by the water by the falls, and they've got the old concrete bridge that's probably from the 1920s or 30s, sitting right beside the new bridge, what was the new highway whenever they built it, and looks like maybe the 80s or so. So they have the old bridge sitting there beside, and there's great spots to go down and view it if you're along by the river. I know a bit different context here, but I have seen that in places where they keep the old bridge beside the new bridge, or but like I said, if you can move, like if it's strong enough, you can pick it up and move the whole span somewhere else. So I guess it's back to the funding and cost considerations too, but maybe there's something that can be done. Anyone else? Any thoughts on that? If not, I think we can move on for now. I think we'll definitely, if you can provide comments to me, that would be great. I can just start an email chain. Maybe I'll circulate the report around again, just so it's at the top of everyone's inboxes, and then we can put some comments together and send them in. So I think that's a good path forward on that. And to another bridge, Holland Mills Bridge Black. I just had it on here as a bit of a reminder. I know Tracy had sent around the current version of the text previously, I think at our last meeting, and Yvonne, Patty, and Al, I think, all volunteered to take a look at it and see if they can whip it into shape so that we can have a bit of a final, at least text, and then we can work on the layout part with Tracy. Did you have any updates on that?
Sure. So it has been edited as much as it can be. I don't think there's any more words we can take away from it. So I'm actually looking at placing it now, what it would look like in the size-wise. Can we fit all the words and the photos? And if so, just from the text point, then once it is 100% confirmed with the company, I will circulate the committee to have another look as a whole, and to sign off on that. And that will be our first bridge sign, following the Hartman one, which the region did. So this would be nice.
Wonderful. It'd be nice to get this one done and up and see what it looks like. Tracy, did you have a indication from them on timing?
Hopefully before year end. When we first started doing this project, little did I know, I did know a little bit about truss bridges. I did not know how big a pin is in a truss bridge, because my thought was, let's get 4 and put it in there, but they're pretty big. So trying to incorporate a piece of history as kind of a, I guess, industrial art onto the sign. So that's kind of where my creative juices are right now, where I could just do a boring sign, so to speak, but no, I need to work in a pin. I went from 4 to 1 pin, but so once that aspect, hoping for this year.
Jen, I look down for a minute.
No problem. I'm curious how big they are exactly.
Oh, you can't see with my background. It's quite large. It, well, it doesn't fit in a banker's box. I can tell you that. When I Public Works Department, they were said, "Oh, can I just have the pins?" They're quite heavy and big, but yeah, it was surprising. But I'll have to take a picture and send it to you.
Maybe they could make a frame.
Yeah, and I was thinking, so it's got to be someone's definitely creative and think outside the box to incorporate this too. And then I'll have, and then yeah, exactly, and then I'll have 1 pin in the collection too for the township. So from a collection point of view, it's if Sharon and I are looking at doing an exhibit or something like that, to have an actual pin to display. So that's part of our history as well. So twofold.
Yeah, that would be neat for people to see too. Excellent. Well, that sounds good. There's nothing else on that. We can move on to new business. First item under there was the Cultural Heritage Landscape Project. We had a presentation from project staff on the agenda, and it was going to be either regional staff or I think it's Chris DeGreer from the project as well. So they were going to come tonight and present, but Chris had a scheduling conflict and could not make it. So he is going to be at our October meeting, I believe. Yes.
If I could just jump in as well. So when I was chatting with him, just as a gentle reminder to everyone, if they haven't been on the website yet, to look at it and map out things, just encouraging everyone to, whether it's committee members or people that are tuning in tonight to watch it, to go on. It's listed at our website, the Township website. So it's www.wilmot.ca. It's one of the first blocks that you will see. Just click on it, and it's something that you can look at, or places that catch your eye in Wilmot Township, but we still need to start to continue adding to it.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy, for the reminder too to check out the website. So are they confirmed for the October meeting?
Yes, so it will
Excellent.
be, is it the 13th, October 13th?
Perfect. Anyone else? Any questions, comments, thoughts on that? Seeing none, I think we can move on to the second item under new business, which was 98 Peel Street, proposed masonry repair. So the planning department was contacted by the property owner who would like to do some repair work on the masonry above the front door. It's the kind of the detailing above the door there. So I understand they had been in contact with a repair person as well. So reaching out to them so we can discuss and assist them with the project. And we'll also mention the Region of Waterloo funding, which could be an option depending on their project timing. So I'll update everyone after Tracy and I have had some discussions with them, but I just wanted to mention it so everyone was aware it was coming. Tracy, you have your hand up.
I was just going to share with the committee with this particular property owner, the neat thing is we've got a beautiful photo in the archives of the exterior of the property. I think it's a World War I soldier standing outside, but you can see perfectly the detail at the top. So this would be like the old Hamilton Bank building or Pizza Arca, but just gorgeous on what it should look like. So the mason that will be assisting can look at what it would look like intact. So it's kind of exciting on kind of giving new breath to this property for the detailing. Well, I'll share it with the committee because it's a gorgeous photo.
So I expect at our next meeting, we'll have updates on that for everyone. But yeah, it's got a lot of neat detailing, so it'll be nice to see it restored. I think nothing else. We can move on to correspondence. I did not have any listed. Tracy or anyone else, did you have anything?
The only correspondence I could share was about Culture Days are going to be coming up, which Heritage Wilmot we've participated. There's Doors Open, but there's also regionally with Doors Open coming up. But Culture Days is the provincial event as well. So I will have some further, I think in the October meeting, I'll share a little bit more on what we're doing for Wilmot Township on our walking tours, driving tours, looking at perhaps a QR code scavenger hunt in Wilmot Township on just having people engage in culture.
Perfect. Thank you, Tracy. Any other correspondence, or I guess under item 8, we had roundtable or info sharing. Anyone have any info sharing? Yvonne.
This is I'm going to call it a cross pollination because it has to do with gardening. Myself and Marlene Knezevich with Wilmot Horticulture. We've been walking around the property at Castle Kilbride, and there's some renovation being done to the landscaping, and it's very exciting because it's been a long time coming, and the landscaping, some of the plants have basically just aged out, and there's am I allowed to say who's going to be doing the yeah, anyway, Gaia's Gardens has been contracted to come up with a design They have the original designs from that Wendy Shearer, who's a historical landscape architect, that she drew up the original design. So, you know, we've looked at that, and some of the beautiful old rose varieties that were planted at the time. And you look at those now and you go, oh, they're so disease prone that, you know, places like the Royal Botanical Gardens, for example, ripped out all of their rose gardens and replaced them because there were more problems with them than it was worth. Anyway, so I'm very excited that you know, the historical property will have a refresh, and it will look really, really great, and it will make the property really shine. And so it's very exciting, and it's a combination of gardening, which I love too, and historical stuff, which I love. So anyway, that's coming up, and it's really great.
Good.
Thanks, Yvonne. That'll be really neat. Barry.
Thanks, Nick. I guess everybody's noticed by now that Livingston Church is up for sale, and also the property right beside it, which originally was the Baden Hotel. But that is a designated property, I'm assuming. And with that, does that mean the new owner would have to adhere to external designation or internal? How would that work?
Do you want me to answer, Nick?
I can.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure, go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So the part for designation under the Heritage Act, so that's the individual property. So it goes with the land. So even if the property is sold, then it runs on title with the property. So any new owner is still would still have to abide by the designation. Tracy, anything else to add?
Just wanted to add that with this particular property, because obviously the close connection between Livingston Presbyterian and Castle Kilbride, being that James Livingston built the church, they've been great with us on, even when we knew it was going to be for sale. I've known for a little bit, and they've been sharing and transferring documents back to us that support our archival collections, whether it's Ladies' Aid and things like that, that were definitely part of the church, but also has a direct connection with Castle Kilbride history. So they've been wonderful on allowing us to come in and to choose and photos and things like that tells a real story. So that's great for us, just enhances our collection. And I was going to also mention along the lines of history, with emails that you might have seen from me on videos that are coming out of our department. My newest staff member, Taylor, she's put together these really nice feel-good kind of videos, whether it's horse racing anniversaries. We just did one for back to school, but it's all photos that Heritage Wilmot would have scanned at Heritage Days, or helped us with the coordination of donations through photos and history. And I don't know, some of you doing school pictures. So a lot of the information was really nice for us to put together. But if you haven't seen it yet, it's really worth watching the back to school video.
Thanks, Tracy, for sharing that too. Anyone else? Doesn't look like it. So our next meeting is October 13th, in fact, at 6:30. And I'm guessing it will still be virtual unless we hear otherwise.
That's
Probably safe to say for now. So that was it. Could I have a motion to adjourn? Jen. All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank
We were-
you.
We were efficient tonight. It's only 10 after 7.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, well, have a good night, everybody.
We're getting
Thank
so
you very much.
sharing ourselves.
Bye for now.
Good night.